Everybody, today I'm going to show you how to create a transaction in Skyslope. You would use this button when you represent a buyer, not a seller, and you have gotten an accepted contract to purchase a home. So the first thing you'll do is sign on to Skyslope and you will click Create Transaction. You can search for the address here by starting to type in the address, 123 Fake Street. If it pops up with your address, go ahead and click it here. But if it doesn't, then you can just go ahead and click the X and enter the information in manually here. 123 East Fake Street, 84123, and then it'll populate the rest of this, Utah, Salt Lake City, Salt Lake County. You'll want to put in the MLS number. This is you as the agent, and that will automatically pop up for you as you're signed in. And then we are representing a buyer. If we were representing a buyer who's purchasing a new construction property, we would want to click New Construction. Or if they were doing a lease or land, etc. But for us, we're just representing a regular buyer buying a regular home. We need to fill in all the information on this sheet with red stars next to it. So the next thing is we want to know what we're purchasing this property for. We're purchasing it for $630,000. It was built in 1980. This is important to know for compliance whether or not you need the lead-based paint disclosure. You want to know the source of the deal. For our purposes, this was a personal referral, but maybe you got this buyer through an open house or any of the other means listed on this list. They want to know if you got the lead through our office. The answer to this one is no. Our acceptance date on the contract is today. Remember, you only have 4 days from the time that you get the contract to get it uploaded into Skyslope so that your broker has a copy. And the closing date, as this is a cash deal, will be next week. That's all of the red check marks. Should have everything by them, so we can click Next. Oh, actually, we didn't get all the red check marks. It wants to know the type of representation. We are a purchaser tenant. Now we can click Next. We found 123 Fake Street as a listing. Are you making this transaction because that listing has a buyer? If so, click Convert to convert that listing information to this transaction. If not, click Continue. This box will not always pop up, but if somebody else in the office perhaps has that same listing, in my case, I have a listing with this same address. And so they're asking me if this was my listing. But for our purposes here, we're not going to. So I'm going to click Continue. Now I need to fill in the rest of the information. For the seller, I probably only have their name, which is John Smith. It won't require any other information from me as I probably don't have their email or anything like that. If the seller is a trust company or other entity, I would click this button and would no longer make the seller's first and last name required, but instead make the company name required. And then click Save. And then Next. Now I want to know who the purchaser tenant is. I should have more information on this person as they are my client. So the purchaser of this property is Bob Ross. Although an email is not required, it is very easy to send documents through Skyslope. So Bob's email would be really useful here, and I will put it in. And then they want his phone number. This information is also very useful because if anyone were to be needing to log into your Skyslope, perhaps something happened to you, you ended up in the hospital, you couldn't finish your transaction or something like that, and your broker had to come in and help you finish the transaction, all of this information would be things that he needs to know to get this transaction completed. And then next again. Now they want to know who your title or escrow officer is. If you've used that title or escrow officer before, you can search for them up here. But if you haven't, then you would just enter their name down here. Our title officer is Jennifer Aniston. We're going to input her phone number. She works for Friends Title Company. And her email is jennifer@friends.com. Save. And next. Now we want to know the agent representing the other side of the transaction or the seller's agent. So we'll input that information here. And that is Courtney Cox. We will input her phone number. And her brokerage is ABC Realty. It also is not requiring her email address, but I highly encourage you to put it in, as sending documents that have been signed by your client is really easy through DocuSign if you have their email inputs. Click Save again. Now, at this point, you can either click Submit or you can put their lender information in. I highly recommend putting their lender information in for the same reasons as putting in everybody else's email, even though it wasn't required. Sending documents that have been signed for this transaction is super easy if you've put the lender in. So, Matt LeBlanc. And his email is matt@fakelender.com. Save. If you have a TC or the other agent has a TC, you can put that information here in miscellaneous contacts. If you're getting a home warranty, you can put that information here. But for our purposes, we're done. We have our lender information input. We've saved it, so we're going to click Submit. Once we've clicked Submit, they want to know the commission information. We're receiving 2% on the commission here. We also are paying a TC fee of $200, and the TC is going to be Carrie. And then we're going to click Submit again. Now we have our checklist of items that need to be uploaded into Skyslope, and our transaction is created.